Kakadosh, Boker Or, Shavua Tov, Masechet Batra Daf Mem Hey Amud Aleph 145a1. The Gemara is talking about, we were just mentioning the entire concept, right? Where it says that if there's a makom, if there's a minhag to give back the kiddushin, you give it back. If it's a makom not to give back the kiddushin, you don't give it back. Says Rav Yosef, that means basically imagine right now somebody comes and he gives money of kiddushin to a woman. And then what happened is that he didn't actually do the real marriage. Remember, kiddushin is the first step of marriage. What we do nowadays in the same time, we do it right under the chuppah with the ring. So in the olden days, they would do it a year in between. Right. So imagine he did the kiddushin, but he never actually consecrated. He never actually did anything. Why? Whatever the case was. So do you have to give back the money or not? So he says it all depends on the minhag. Local custom. Yeah, the custom. But that's only if she died. But if he died, you don't give the money back. My time, what's the reasoning? But she could say, you know what, give me the husband. Meaning she's going to say, it's not my fault. The guy died. Misken. Very good, misken. But why should I give back the money? I didn't do anything wrong. He would have been mad. He would have, if he give me my husband, I'll get married to him. Right? That's what she's going to say. Hachanami, so to hear, Neimali, right? Neima tenuli shushbini. So to the one that's mikabel the shushbiniot, he could come and say, listen, ani mezuman nismocha. I want to come and be happy with him. And therefore, since it's because of his death, I cannot be happy with him. So it's not to do with me. So I don't have to start giving back the shushbanim. Remember, we're talking about that the shushbanim it was like a present that was given from the father with one of the brothers, basically as a messenger to come and give the present to the one of the brothers that's getting married, and then they had to give it back, and they went back to the common pot. It went back to the common family ancestry. Okay, that's what we were speaking about. So answers the Gemara. Amar Rav Yosef says of Yosef, Hacha here, b'ma'iskim, what are we dealing with? Kegon shesamach imo shivat yemei mishteh velo yispik leporo ad shemet. Says no, the brother that was sent by the father, right? So he was enough in order. So therefore, the guy came and he was happy with him for 7 days, but he didn't have enough time to actually pay it back until he died. And therefore, in such a case, right, since he was happy with him, there was already a chiyuv to give back the shushmanit, and then after the guy's death, he's still chayav to give it back, because basically it already was the 7 days. The mitzvah is for 7 days. After the 7 days, that's it. It's a completely different world. So since the mitzvah is for 7 days, so therefore it's going to be from then onwards. So, the mitzvah. So says the Gemara, lema. So what do we just say? Tenuli bali vesmachimo is a machloket tanaim. This entire concept that a woman could just say, listen, you know what? Give me back my husband and I'm going to be happy with him. Why don't we just say that's a machlokut tanaim? The Tanya was learned in a Braita. Hamareset isha, right? If a person is going to come and get engaged to a woman, remember the engagement of the Torah. Betula gova matayim. Betula is always going to take 200. Almana is going to take 100, but that's why it's called mana. Right? Makom shenagu lachzir, right? Which is 100. Yeah? מקום שנגעו להחזיר הקידושים מחזירים, מקום שלא נגעו להחזיר לא קידושים מחזירים, דברי רבי נתן. So says Rabbi Natan, it all depends on minhag. If the minhag is to give it back, you give it back. If the minhag is not to give it back, you don't give it back. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi Omer. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi comes and he says, באמת אמרו, do you know that באמת they said, מקום שנגעו להחזיר, מחזירים. A place where they have a minhag to give it back, you give it back. ומקום שנגעו שלא להחזיר, אין מחזירים. A makom that they have in minhag, you don't give it back, right? So says the Gemara, 1 second. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is Tanakama. What's going on here? Rabbi Natan just said everything depends upon the custom. And he says the exact same thing. Salam Shos. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Omer, Be'emet Amru, the truth is, I'm going to say. And then he says the exact same thing. What's going on? Elalav, but rather it can't be that they're saying the same thing, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that you're saying these are the words of Binatan, and then Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, "Be'emet amru," really Be'emet they said. What's going on? So he says, no. Tenuli bali vesmachimo. The machloke between them is this concept of tenuli bali vesmachimo, which means give me back my husband and I'll be happy with him. Which means I don't have to give back the money, because if he was the one that died, the impeding is not on me, it's on him. Right? Meaning, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm here. So he says, how do we see that? We're lacking part of it, and this is the way that you're supposed to read it. If you're going to come and you're going to betroth the woman, remember, betula takes 200 and an almana takes 100. But one of these words, if he retracts And therefore, the deen is going to be that she's going to take the ketubah and also the kiddushin. Why? He retracted. Meaning, if he was the cause and he was one that decided, that's it. Aval meta.
She keeps the
she
in
keeps
addition
something.
to the kedushin money and the
Ketubah. For sure she gets a ketubah because he was one that retracted. She gets a ketubah. Again, this is according to the shita that you get ketubah from the Irusin. But yes. So he comes and he says over here, right? He says, Aval meta. But if she dies, makom shenagu lachzir, machzirin. Makom shenagu machzirin. Right? It all depends on minhag. V'davka shemeta hi, but that's only if she died. Aval metu, but if he dies, and machzirin, you don't give it back. My time, what's the reasoning? She could come and she could say that. Meaning, according to the Tanakama, he's the one that holds of this concept of give me my husband and I can rejoice with him. And the fact that he's not around, it's not my fault, and therefore I do not have to pay back.
The same thing over and over again.
No, 1 minute. And then Rabbi Yudanasi comes and he says, Be'emet amru, really they said, Ben shemetu, Ben shemeti, it doesn't matter who dies. It all depends on the minhag. And she can never say Tenuli Bali Vesmachimo. Gemara. So says the Gemara, it's not correct. No. The Chule Alma, according to everybody, whether it's going to be Rabbi Natan or Rabbi Yudanasi, she could always have the claim, Tenuli Bali Vesmachimo, give me my husband, and I will be happy with him. And therefore, the me too, if he dies, Chule Alma lo plige. Everybody agrees that she keeps the money. So ki plige, when is the machloke between them then? Shemetahi. If she dies. And here the machloket is that when you come and you give the money for the kiddushin, is it ki'ilu that it's money gone to waste, that it'll never come back, or not?
It depends.
1 second. So what does that mean? Meaning when you're coming, you're giving it, is it ki'ilu that it's never coming back to you? So Rabbi Natan Savar Kiddushim Lav Latibuin. Says Rabbi Natan, what are you talking about? When you come and you give money to the woman, whatever you're giving to her, you're going to get back because you take her as a wife. So anything that you gave her is coming back your way. It's like, you take it from this pocket and put it in the other pocket. It's coming back to you. You understand? So it doesn't make sense, right? But Rabbi Yudanasi Savar Kiddushim Tibuin. He says, no, I'm sorry. When you gave it that it'll never come back to you, and therefore you can never come back. So says the Gemara. 1 second. I thought that we said the words that it all depends on the minhag. And if the minhag is to give it back, it's to give it back. So says the Gemara, Hachi Kamar, the sivlonot vadai makom shenagu lachzir machzirin. Sivlonot, which are like jewelry and things like that. There for sure, right? I also admit that it's makom shenagu lachzir machzirin. Right, which means that ki'ilu, that according to him, when he says bemet amru, it's ki'ilu that we're talking about only the presents. We're not talking about the money of the kiddushin, which means like this. There's two things. When you come and you get it married, right, or the kiddushin, and remember, nowadays, this doesn't apply because we do it under the chuppah and it's 2 seconds between one another or 5 minutes between one another. So there's no time, right? But in the olden days, it was a year. So nowadays, they do it, but they do it during the engagement process. During the engagement process, which nowadays does not really hold because it's not a real engagement, but it does hold of certain things. That's why they make tanaim and they make a whole bunch of things. But there's something which is called presents. What does that mean? Usually the kala will come and give presents to the khatan, and the khatan will give presents to the kala, right? So for it's vice versa, it works both ways. It's always a two-way street. Some people think that it's only a one-way street. Right? You have to give, but you never give in return. It doesn't work like that. You understand? Yeah, it doesn't work like that. You have to give in return. Yeah, fine. So what happens is, right? I'm glad that people, they understand who I'm talking to. So what happens is that they always blame other people. Yeah. So that's going to be the problem. So says the Gemara, so it comes out, he says, Rabbi Yudanasi says, no, we're talking about kiddushin tibuin. What does that mean? Basically this, we're talking about the presents. When a person comes and he's giving the presents and the kiddushin are zeloto devar. Meaning, Rabbi Yudanasi agrees that the presents that the chatan gives to the kala, for sure they go back. But the money of the kiddushin does not go back. Contract. So the presents go back, but not the money of the kiddushin. Okay? V'hani tanai, kani tanai. And this machloket tanaim, which is basically, again, Rabbi Natan, Rabbi Yudanasi, is also going to be another machloket tanaim, right? The Tanya was learned to the Braita. Kicha bekikar, if a person came and he was mekadesh a woman with a kikar kesef. Betula gova matay mamana maneh. These words are Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda omer, betula gova matay mamana maneh. and she has to give back the leftovers, whatever is left over of the kikar, meaning the amount of money, because the kikar was a lot of money. Rabbi Yosef omer, kitcha ב-20, נותן לה 30 חצאים. kitcha ב-30 נותן לה 20 חצאים. So says Rabbi Yosef, if right now he got her married with 20 shekalim, so he has to give the ketubah 30 half shekalim. And if he got married with 30 shekalim, he has to give her 20 half shekalim. The Gemara is going to explain all this. Okay, so let's start. Okay, let's start to analyze. So one more time. The concept was really bad, man. We went at the beginning, we wanted to say that there was a machloka between them. Do we say that a woman could have a claim? Give me my husband, I'm going to be happy with him. And therefore, she doesn't have to return the money. We afterwards retracted for that. We said, no, according to everybody holds that. Everybody holds a woman could say, give me my husband, and I have it. So what's the machloket? The machloket is to do with the money of the kiddushin. What does that mean, the money of the kiddushin? Again, money of the kiddushin means, according to Rabbi Natan, he holds, give me my husband, and I'll how do you call this? And I'm going to be happy with him. According to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, no, you don't say that. Why? Because when you give money of the kiddushin, it's gone. You lose it. So that's what's actually machlok between them. When you give the money of the kiddushin, is it lost or not lost? Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says it's lost. So says the Gemara, but so why did you say that it's a makom of the minhag to give it back? So the Gemara answers, the makom of the minhag to give it back was only talking about the presents, not about the money of the kiddushin. And now we want to say that it's the same machloket between Rabbi Natan and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, which means when you come and you get married and you give money for kiddushin, does that money go to waste or not? Rabbi Natan says no. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says yes. That same machloket is going to be another machloket. What does that mean? A person came and he got married with a kikar of kesef. Now, a kikar of kesef is 25 mana. Okay?
500 zuz.
Yes. Okay? 25 mana, which every single mana is 100 zuz. Okay? Because mana is 100 zuz. Right? The matayim is 200 zuz. So 25 mana is 2500 zuz. Okay? Now, the betula is gova 200 zuz in the ketubah, and almana, right, 100 zuz, besides what she already received. Meaning, according to Rabbi Meir, that money where you gave her at the beginning, it was already went to the waste, because basically whatever you gave her, that's it. Now, when you have to come and you have to give her a ketubah, you still have to give her another 200 zuz, that means even though you already gave her 2,500 zuz, if she's a betula, you still have to give her an additional 200. She's an almana, you have to give her an additional. Well, no, because one was kiddushin. Not a gift. The money of kiddushin. Which one?
200
No, 200 is a ketubah. And the 100 is ketubah. Remember, a betula gets 200 for ketubah. And almana gets 100 for the ketubah, not for the money. The money of the kiddushin. No. Chas Shalom. One more time. When you get married to a woman, you give her money, which is called kesef kiddushin. Nowadays, it could be $5, as long as it's shaveh pruta. Nowadays, right, the minhag is to give a ring. But in the olden days, he used to give money. Mamash money. Okay, that has nothing to do with the ketubah. Because remember, you're giving the exact same amount for a betula or an almanah. And like what he said, it could be $5. You're giving her a ring that's $5. You're married. That's called marriage. You come and turn into witnesses. Whatever it is, you're married. That's $5. That's all that it is. Now, in our case, the guy came and he gave her 2,500 zuz. He gave her a fortune because he gave her a kikar kesef. He gave her a block of silver. He says, you're married to me with this. So he gets married. Says Rabbi Meir, which is the first shita.
Gone.
It's gone. You'll never see it again. So now, if you have to divorce her and you have to pay her a ketubah for whatever reason, you still have to give her an additional, whether it's 200 zuz for a betula or 100 zuz for an amana, because it's for ketubah. Ketubah has nothing to do with kiddushin. Remember that. Ketubah has nothing to do with kiddushin. There's a machloket. You get a ketubah from the time of the irusin, but really, be'emet, it's afterwards. That's why by even nowadays, what do? We do the kiddushin, and only after the kiddushin, we come and we do the ketubah. And the ketubah is in order to make like a hefsek, right? A pasek, right? In between the kiddushin and the nisuin. The nisuin is the actual marriage, which is underneath the chuppah, and then you take her into an enclosed room, right? That's the concept of nisuin, that now she's designated for you. Beforehand, she's only designated for you, but really, by man, there's no living together. It's kiddushin. It's the beginning, the first process. But then afterwards, so the first shita Rabbi Meir, you lost everything. According to Rabbi Yehuda, he says, no, the betula is going to take the 200. Almanah is 100 from that which you received. and she has to give back the leftovers. Meaning, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you didn't lose anything. You gave her 2,500 zuz, so now you just deduct, right? You have to give her a ketubah. The ketubah is a betula, 200. So now she has to give back 2,300 zuz. If the betula, if it was an almanah, 100, she has to give back 2,400 zuz. Give back the change. That's the concept of who? Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosef Omer. Rabbi Yosef comes and he says, if he got her married with 20 shekalim, he has to give her 30 half shekalim for the ketubah. And if he got married for 30 shekalim, he has to give her 20 half shekalim for the ketubah. So now let's explain this Gemara. Okay? Until you were clear. Let's see the Gemara.
There's a summary here in the notes. You want to read it? The summary there?
So in summary, according to the view that Kiddushin are given irretrievably, which means that it's going to be always there. The wife keeps the Kiddushin money regardless of why the Nisim are cancelled and regardless of the local custom. According to the view that Kiddushin are not given, right, irretrievably, so he says she keeps the Kiddushin money where the husband was the cause of the consolation, which basically divorce of his own, because she can claim, give me my husband, and then that's it. Okay, fine, let's continue. So now the Gemara is going to say, you can take it back. What are we dealing with? So he says, if you're going to tell me that she died, meet la ketubah. If she dies, she doesn't get a ketubah. So obviously our Braita here is not about that she died. Because if the Braita is talking about that she gets a ketubah, so you cannot be speaking about that she died. But if she dies, she doesn't get a ketubah. Yeah? So he says, Elaba rather, metu. He had to die. So one second. If he dies, why does she give him back? Like, why does she give him back leftovers? Like, why does she have to give him back what's leaving? Nema, she could just say, give me my husband. I'm going to be happy with him. Ve'ela rather be'eshet Yisrael shezinta. We're talking about an eshet Yisrael that she committed adultery, a wife of a Yisrael that she committed adultery, and therefore the husband divorced her. Uvemai. So now, what's the case exactly? Iberatzon. If she did it willingly, mit la ketubah. She doesn't get a ketubah. Elaba rather, be honest, she was violated. So mishra shariale. So says the Gemara, 1 second, if she was violated, she's permitted to the husband. What's the case? One more time. Remember, it had to be Eshet Yisrael. It had to be Eshet Yisrael, but Eshet Kohen, Gamarnu. There's nothing to talk about. An Eshet Kohen, the wife of a Kohen, if she's violated, she's violated. That's it, to the husband. They could both cry, but there's nothing what to do. Yeah, it's a special din in a Kohen. But in Eshet Yisrael, it all depends. If she willingly went and she committed adultery, she doesn't get, well, obviously kill her, but you don't get a ketubah. She's not going to get paid for it. She's going to get paid. But if it's bad, she was violated, so he's permitted to go with her. So what's going on? So says the Gemara, no, you're right. We're talking about Eshet Kohen, the wife of a Kohen, that she was violated. So since she was violated, he's forced to divorce her. He cannot live with her again. Now, but technically speaking, she didn't do anything wrong. She was violated. She didn't do anything wrong. She was screaming the entire time. So therefore, she doesn't lose her ketubah, right? Nevertheless, right, he says it's because of her. So because of that, do you give back the money or not? And therefore, says the Gemara, now we're going to explain the machloket. So Kiddushin l'tibui. So this is the machloket, whether the money of the Kiddushin goes to loss or not. Rabbi Meir, and this is what you were saying, Richard. This is what I just read now, the summary, right? Rabbi Meir holds that Kiddushin l'tibui, which means that it goes to the loss. Rabbi Yehuda says that it never goes to loss. And Rabbi Yosef has a doubt whether it goes to loss or not. That means Rabbi Yosef, which was the third shita about the halves, he's got a doubt. He's not sure. Do I go like Rabbi Meir or do I go like Rabbi Yehuda? Meaning, when you give the money for the Kiddushin, is it 100% a loss or not? And therefore, since it's a loss, so therefore,
divide the money.
So therefore, you divide the money in both. You split the money into two. So therefore, in kicha besrim shkalim, if he went and he got married to her with 20 shekalim, so therefore he has to take off of the ketubah 10 shekalim, which is going to be 40 zuz. And it comes out that if she's an almanah, 100, right, zuz, which is going to be, right, the entire concept. Noten la shloshim chatzain. He's going to give her 30 half shekalim, right? Because it all depends whether she's a betula or an almanah. He says, but if he got married to her with 30 shekalim, so therefore he has to take off of the ketubah 15 shekalim, which is going to be the 60 zuz. So therefore it comes out that if she's almanah, he only has to give her 20 half shekalim. Meaning basically what they were doing was they were dividing the money into half. Because according to Shittat Rabbi Yosef, he's not sure. Do I go like Rabbi Meir, that you will basically lose all the money? Or do you go like Rabbi Yehuda, that you don't lose the money? So since I'm not sure, I'm in the middle grounds. So it depends how much you use for the kiddushin, how much is left over, and then we just deduct and we go accordingly. Okay. As the Gemara of Yosef ben Yom Nachman says of Yosef ben Yom in the name of Nachman, in any place that they have a minhag to give back the money of the kiddushin, they're going to give it back. The Tirgima Narda, and we're going to explain this according to Neharda, which means that there the minhag was to give back the money of the kiddushin. Okay, but that's in Neharda. Neharda is one city in one place in Babylonia. What about the rest of Bavel? So Rabbi Yosef ben Moharai, which means the presents, hadre, they go back. Kiddushe lo hadre, the kiddushin does not go back. Meaning what the actual what you use for the wedding, meaning like for the to get married to her, that does not go back. But the presents all go back. So Amar Papa, and Papa says Hilchata ben shemet hu ben shemeta he, whether he dies or she dies, vehadar behu, right? Or if he retracts from the wedding, mohare hadre, you always give back the presents. Kiddushe lo hadre, you never get back the case of kiddushin. Hadre ba'i, but if she was the one that retracted, afilu kiddushin, then she has to retract even from the money of the kiddushin. So it all depends. If she broke off the marriage, she has to give back even the money of the kiddushin. But any other way, if he broke it off or somebody died, doesn't matter whether it's who or he, she keeps the money of the kiddushin, but the presents have to go back. That's the halacha. Ameimar says, no, kiddush le'adre. You never give back the money of the kiddushin, right? Even if she retracted. Because maybe they're going to say kiddushim tofsim b'achotah. Because maybe they're going to say that the kiddushin was a mistake and it's going to be tofes in the sister. Right? Why? Because they're going to think that kiddushim helps and she's permitted to her. Right? Which means that ki'ilu, that now he could get married to the sister. It didn't work with his sister. He'll try another sister. Now you can't. Because we know that you cannot get married to two sisters in their lifetimes. Even if you divorce one, you cannot get married to the other one. Right? So don't get quick ideas. Yeah? Meaning that in the lifetime, basically you can never get married. Right? Look how these people talk. Yeah, what they have to think about. Yeah, so that's fine. So he says, Ravashi comes and he says, he says, what are you talking about? He says, why would you ever think that the sister is going to be permitted? She needs a get. So the get is proving that it was a good kiddushin. Meaning, even if she has to give back the money of the kiddushin, that doesn't show that there was no kiddushin, but she gets a get. So says the Gemara, Ravashi, but this of Ravashi is beduta. It's not 100% correct. Some people will only hear that she gave back the money to kiddushin, and they won't hear about the get. So because of that, because of the decree that maybe people will say that he's permitted not to get married to the sister, she never has to give back the money. That is the shita of, right? That is the shita of Amimar. 2 dots on the bottom of the page. Remember that the shushbinit is going to be collected in betin. We learned to the Braita. There's 5 things which are about time to do with shushbinit. It's going to be collected in a betin. It's going to be going back at the proper time, which means only when he's going to get married and not beforehand. Ve'emba mishum ribit, and there's no ribit, which means even if he's going to give back a bigger present, meaning the guy received, remember, one of the brothers, he received the shushbinit, but even if he gave back a bigger present than which he received, there's no problem of ribit. Okay? Kuf Mem Hamud Bet, 145b. Ve'en hashvid mishamata, shmita doesn't cancel off the loan. Okay? Ve'en abechor notel pishnayim, and the bechor will never take double. Remember, this is called ra'ui. So since it's called ra'ui, the bechor does not take double portion in something which is fitting to come, only in something which has a chazakah, which is muhzak, which is already in your hand. So we're going to now analyze this piece by piece. It's going to be collected in betin 145b, 1 kuf mem bet. Nigbet bevetin, my time, what's the reasoning? But it's like a loan. So since it's like a loan, it's not like a mamasha matana. It's not like a mamasha present. And therefore, since it's like a loan, so if you have to give it back. Mishum ribit, and there's no isur because of ribit. The lava daita dehachiyavle. He says because you didn't give it to him for that, which means when he came and he gave it to him, and now he's giving it back, it was never a loan. So since it was never a loan, so therefore if he's going to add it more, so it's like a matana that he's giving with simcha. It's like he wants that there should be much more. So that way the next brother will get even more. And it wasn't that it's a loan and then you're giving back and forth. It wasn't like that. Vena shvita mishamata. Shmita doesn't cancel out because we don't read it. Lo yigos et reu v'etachiv kikara shmita Hashem. Meaning, remember the lo yigos says that if it comes the proper time, can you put pressure on him before the proper time in order to pay back? Since you do not read the concept of paying back because of the proper time, so for Shemitah does not cancel out as well. He says, it's Raui. And then just like we already explained before, Bechor will never take in Raui like in Muhzak. Amar Rav Kana comes and says, Klala de Shushbenita, the klal of the Shushbenita is Hava Bemata, right? That if the person is in the city, right, that he's getting married, Ibaile Lemita. So therefore he should have come to the simcha of the person giving it to him. And therefore, in such a case, he's obligated to give it back, even though he didn't even eat and drink there. Right? So he says, Shama Kal Tavla, if he heard the Pa'amonim, which they heard the bells, the Chatan and the Kala are coming. So since he knows that he's getting married, Ibaile Lemita, he should have come. He should have been mishtatef besimcha. Some people, they don't come to the semachot of other people. It's like they have to go. Lo shama kaltav. If he didn't hear it, you should have told him, right? You should have told him. He says, listen, the one that's giving the present, you should have told him. The tarmuta leitale. So therefore, he's got like a taromet. He's got like a complaint against it that he could say, hey, well, you didn't tell me what's going on here. So shalom meshalem. So therefore, he has to pay the shushbenit. That kama. So how much does he have to come and you take off from that which he ate, right? That he didn't eat. The people of the Bnei Chuppah, which are the Shushbenim, adzuz until azuz. Aita bechape achla bekrase. Right, because whatever you would have brought in his hands, he would have eaten it. So, when he didn't eat, he's going to deduct that from the chov. But ad arba'a mishalem palga. But if he was going to be obligated to pay back the Shushbenit, so then it's going to be until 4 zuz. He has to pay back, right, half of it. He says why? Because in such a case that if he was there in the simcha, he would have brought in a bigger present. And the minhag was to give them. So basically, it was like everyone's paying their own plate. That's the concept, basically, right? Which is very interesting. By the way, I actually heard some people have a minhag of that. I don't know which type of a nida. I forgot who it is, right? I have to try to remember. But somebody told me that they're invited to a wedding, and when they go to the wedding, they have to pay. I don't remember, it was like $120. They have to pay for their own meal, right? That's kilu the minhag. This is this concept. It's something incredible. I mean, you're coming, you're paying. Right? Nowadays, the majority of people, they come to the wedding, they don't even pay their meal, right? Because the meals became so expensive, right? So therefore, kilu, you understand? You understand? I have to say, yeah. So mikam ve'elach, from then onwards, inish kach. He says each one according to his chashivut. You're going to pay? Fine, let's go. Next. Tanu Rabbanan. Says the Gemara. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita. Saimo vepumbi. Right? What happens if he did it publicly? And he wanted to do it privately. You could tell him, I'm going to do it publicly. Just like you did with me. What does that mean? That the same way the Shushbenin works, meaning that what goes around comes around. Life is like a boomerang. What does that mean? We do it public, private. What happens if he did it when he got married to a betula and he wants that it should be done with the almanah? You could tell him, listen, well, I'll do it with you when you get married to a betula, not the same way. Meaning not because now you're going to get a second marriage and you're going to get an almanah that I have to start acting with you as if that you got the betula the first time around. The second wife, because of the rishona. When you get married the second time around, then I'll do it with you. He did it with one, he wants to do two, but he got married to 2 wives. You could tell him, I'm going to do like what you did. The Tan Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita. Atir nichsin, somebody that's ashir, right? He's rich with fields and this and that. Atir pumbi, right? And he's ashir be'osher, which is galui to everybody. Zeu bala gadot. That is a vakiba gadot, right? That he's being doresh bebatem ishtaot and everything. Why? Because mamash, everybody knows about it. Atir slaim, he's ashir beslaim, v'atir takoa. He's going to be ashir with a shemen, which is called takoa. Zeu bal pilpul. That's somebody that's pilpul Torah. Because with his pilpul, he's going to have every single day new reasons, new this and everything. So you get that, but it's like the shemen, it's like the oil. Atir meshach, if he's going to be atir rich in something which is going to be madud, it's going to be measured. Atir kemas, he's going to be like mas, which they bring into the storage, right? That they don't get only every single time. So he comes and he says, Zeu bala shmuot, this is bala lachot and amoraim and everything. Because you don't see it every single day, meaning that you don't see the chokhmah every single day. But everybody needs the Bal Chitim, because at the end of the day, what is that? The Gemara. Because at the end of the day, the one that knows the Gemara, they need him. So you're right. Afterwards, you have people which they're going to be expert in Pilpul. Pilpul is like back and forth, that. Then you have also the people which are going to be Bala Agadot, right? That they're going to come in Agadot. Agadot are always the stories, but that people love. So people are, they love the stories. The other stuff is a little bit more dry. So every single one, according to the level. Amar Bizera Rav says Bizera name of Rav. What does it mean in the pasuk? Kuli me'erani ra'im. Ze bal gemara. That's going to be a bal gemara. V'tov lev mishte tamid. Ze bal mishnah. So that means basically the Bal Gemara is a person that's going to be the Ani, right? That's brought down. Why? Because he's killing himself in order to know the Gemara. So he says, Tov Lev Mishetamid is talking about the Mishnah, which is going to be easy to learn. Rava says the exact opposite. Ibcha. Is talking about the Baalei Mishnah. Because they're learning Mishnayot every single day, and they don't have time in them. Why? Because it's very easy. The Mishnayot is you learn a Mishnah Yomi, it's easy. Fine. But he's saying here it's very, very easy. You can't compare Mishnah to Gemara. Right? That's Gemara. But the Gemara, they have a lot of hana from learning of it. Right? That's what he says. Okay, Rabbi Chanina Amar, is Adam sheyesh lo isha ra'ah. A person that has a bad wife, all his days are like poor days. But a person that has a good heart, he's always that he's got a good wife. Right? Why? He's always happy. Yeah? How do you say happy wife, happy life? No? Yeah. Rabbi Yanai Amar, Yoter Tov. Yeah? He says, Rabbi Yanai Amar, that's what he says. Yeah? Rabbi Yanai Amar, Rabbi Yanai comes and he says, Kol Yemei Hanei Ra'im, it's a person that's finicky. He's easily. Right? Why? Because he doesn't care about everything. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Kol Yemei Hanei Ra'im is a Rahman, somebody that has mercy. Tov Mishetamid is going to be an Achzari. Why? He's not mitztaer if he sees something bad by other people. Yeshua Levi says, Kol Yemei Hanei Ra'im is that tok tzara, means he's like a kamtzan, and Tov Mishetamid, that tor rechava. He's got like a very good right eye. Let's continue to the Mishnah. Kuf Ben Vav Amud Aleph. Rabbi Yeshua Levi says, Levi, Kol Yemei Hanei Ra'im ve'ha'ika. Right, 146a on the top. It says ve'ha'ika Shabbatot v'yom tovim. What does that mean? There's no ani bisal that he doesn't have parnasa on Shabbat and Yom Tov. So he says, right to the Shmuel says, Shinui v'eset chilal cholik. Do you know that when you change circumstances, many times those circumstances could be whether it's going to be the way of the habits of eating, the way of all these things, it's the beginning of sicknesses. Many times, you go on vacation, you go somewhere else, all of a sudden you come, the food, the this, and that, you become sick. Why? It's not because the food was bad. It's just because you change the nature out of your routine. It's something different. It changes everything. It's brought down in the book of Ben Sira. Ben Sira comes and he says, what is that talking about? Aflelot. Even night times are going to be bad. Right? Bishval gagim gago. The gag of his house should be lower than all the other gagim. That means his house should be lower than all the other houses. And the rain, which is going to go, will come down. At the top of the vineyard should be his vineyard. Ma'afar karmo lekarmim, right? And from the afar of his, why? So he comes and he says, because that way you're not going to get lost. I think that's all because of Ayin Hara. That's what I think it is. Right? That basically, it's always going to be lower, so therefore it's not going to be, it's always going to be like a lower concept, whether it's going to be his roof. But to do with the vineyard, he always wants it higher. So people are not going to be always watching his vineyard. So that's going to be right on the top.